through them all. We'll toss them up on the screens and you can kind of read them, but the numbers just are overwhelming and go straight to the fact that open source usage is ubiquitous, at least across the enterprise today. Okay? And then finally, I got into this business, I told you that story, because fundamentally I felt open source built better software. That's my personal experience, it's my belief, but I want to try and give you some quantifiable results to help you walk out of here and just, it's not just, well, Larry said it was better, right? No, there's some studies, there's some results you can point to quantitatively that help measure that. And by the way, are there any, I know this is the TEC conference. Are there students here today? Just curious. There are a few. I think there are some great research topics to be had here. Okay, I think there's some great master's and PhD theses. There's some great undergraduate research topics as well. And I would encourage people, as you think about, if you're in academics, think about this. I mean, there's some great software engineering questions around what's happening with open source and answering some of these topics. Okay. So let's jump into the first part of this. Investment in open source. Now, prior to jumping into Sugar CRM full time as the CEO, I mentioned I was about 5 or 6 years just in the investment space. And that's primarily as an individual angel investor. I spent some time at venture firm Azure Capital Partners as well. And by the way, where did we go? Azure, Zen was one of the investments we did while I was at Azure. So great company there. You'll hear from Zev later. When are you on, Zev? When's your talk?
Tomorrow.
Great.
Same time.
Same time
place,
tomorrow.
same time.
Same place, same time. Good. So this is a place I've paid a lot of attention to, okay? So let me just start throwing some of the results out there. What I've done here is track the amount of money in US dollars and the number of investment deals that have happened in the venture capital world around open source since 2000. And the way this chart works is along the left-hand side there, you'll see in hundreds of millions of dollars the dollar amount that went in each year. So that at the top there, that's $600 million, okay? And the bars tell you the dollar amount. The line going across is the number of transactions and deals. And so that's along the right-hand side there. So if you look at 2009, I think that was just short of 70 deals, I think maybe 67. I'll pop it up here in a minute. But you can see that. And the reason I want to put it up in the graph like this is you can just see the trend here. There was a fair amount of open source investment starting back in 2000. We went through the down years of 01, 2, and 3, which were the post-bubble down years, right? But since then, things have been up considerably, and you'll notice the trend here is moving upwards. It goes up and down a bit, goes up and down, but with the upward trend, right? So you're seeing that increased investment and drive from the venture community into open source. Specifically, some numbers around this. Last year, 375 million, 67 deals. That's a good, think about that. 67 commercial open source companies funded, total of $375 million just last year. That should give you some confidence that this is an area where there are good commercial solutions being built and that the venture investors are willing to put their money down to make sure that happens. They believe in that sector. If you're sitting on the commercial buyer side, you can look and say, gee, this is building a great ecosystem around commercial open source. If you look at historically what this means, since 2005, we've averaged $400 million a year coming into open source companies in invested capital. It's just over $3 billion has been raised in open source startups since 2000. Further last year, 20 of those deals were Series A, early stage companies that were just getting started. I think this bodes very, very well. And again, if you are in the position of relying on commercial open source, this tells you that there's a viable commercial ecosystem being financed and built there. There's a lot of money going into developing that software around open source that you can rely on.